An NFL insider has revealed the truth on the relationship between Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, and as you may have guessed, it has everything to do with Davante Adams, and we got to break this down. So what's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Jets Digest. Before we hop into the video today, only 24% of viewers are subscribed to the channel. So if you're watching and are not subscribed, please take a second, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But hopping right into our topic for today, via Bleacher Report, the New York Jets' pass distribution following the midseason acquisition of Davante Adams was apparently a source of internal frustration, according to The Athletic's Zach Rosenblatt. Rosenblatt reported Monday how Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers was running the offense how he saw fit to the team's detriment. He added that the four-time MVP by the end of the year was also funneling targets to his closest friend on the team, Davante Adams, which of course didn't go over well with some of his teammates. So it's no secret, as soon as Davante Adams got to the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers immediately locked right in on him. Davante Adams, I understand Garrett Wilson finished the year with more targets than Davante Adams, but once Davante Adams got to the team, he got significantly more targets than Garrett Wilson did. It was something like 118 for Davante and 90-something for Garrett Wilson. So there was a marked, obvious discrepancy as soon as Davante Adams was traded from the Raiders to the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers, of course, wants to find his friend. It's the guy he trusts. We know Aaron Rodgers likes to only throw the football to players he trusts, but Garrett Wilson is the franchise quarterback for the New York Jets. So if you're going to be the quarterback for the New York Jets, you got to trust Garrett Wilson. We know the talent that Garrett Wilson is. He has put up 3 1,000-yard seasons while playing with just no quarterback play. Like Aaron Rodgers was okay, but he's done it with nobody. We know Garrett Wilson can play. Aaron Rodgers had to find a way to get on the same page with Garrett Wilson. Also, the second part of this article talking about how Aaron Rodgers needs players to be in a specific position. And we saw that over and over and over again with Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to spots where guys just weren't there. He wanted someone to run to, 4 or 5 yards and turn around, and the receivers didn't do that because it was based on how the defense was playing the route. So let's say Tyler Conklin was on a curl route and the route was game planned up to be 10 yards, but the defender is sitting down at 10 yards waiting for him. So Aaron Rodgers expects Tyler Conklin to run 7 or 8 yards and then turn around to give Aaron Rodgers an actual opportunity to make a completion. But Tyler Conklin would just run the route that was originally designed and the pass would fall incomplete. This happened over and over and over again. There was chances to fix this in practice. Didn't happen. The preseason didn't happen. The regular season didn't happen. Extremely, extremely frustrating. Bleacher Report did expand on this report, and we're going to take a look at that right now. One of the issues that the two ran into, Wilson likes to freelance on his routes, sometimes to get open using his unreal athleticism, while Rodgers typically requires his receivers to be where he expects them, Rosenblatt said. It was a clash of styles, but it still resulted in plenty of production, with Wilson securing career highs in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. So, I mean, are we impressed that Garrett Wilson recorded career highs this year? I'm certainly not. He played with Zach Wilson and whatever else the New York Jets could muster for that second year. I mean, Garrett Wilson's played with the absolute worst quarterbacking, even mediocre quarterbacking. He's going to put up really good numbers like he did this season. Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, they were not getting along. If you had to pick one, I'm taking Garrett Wilson every single time. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he is far past his prime. He is not the guy that he used to be on the Green Bay Packers. I think Jets fans figured that out pretty quickly. And if you cannot get on the same page as a great wide receiver as Garrett Wilson, I don't even understand how you could be the quarterback in the New York Jets, which is why he got cut. It was not only the contract, but it was also the fact that he clearly can't be on the same page with his wide receivers. And I mean, Garrett Wilson is just a star, man. You got to get on the same page as him. We knew coming out of Ohio State, he had plenty of athletic highlight catches. If you guys remember that catch against, I think it was Clemson, where he just jumped over somebody. That picture is everywhere. I honestly should have put that picture in this video. That's my bad for not putting it in. But we know Garrett Wilson is an elite athlete, and when you're an elite athlete, you want to make stuff up on the fly. If a cornerback is pressing you really close, you want to just run by him. But the style didn't work with Garrett Wilson and Davante Adams. So like I said before, if you're going to make me pick one, I'm taking Garrett Wilson every single time. So while Wilson will not publicly say it, those who know him well believe he's been frustrated at the lack of looks from Aaron Rodgers while wondering what else he can do to fix the relationship. So if you remember before the season started going into the year, Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers had that little spat at training camp. And at the time we were saying, oh, they're just competitors. They just want to win. But over the course of the season, they were never able to get onto the same page, which to me points out the fact that was a real fight. Like, they were not on the same page and they couldn't agree on things. Garrett Wilson wanted to use his athleticism to run the routes. Aaron Rodgers wanted to use his, I got to call it Aaron Rodgers-isms, because no one else does it. No one else plays offense the way Aaron Rodgers plays offense, with that Madden hot routing after he comes out on the field, reads the defense and puts out hot routes. It can work when you got the right personnel, but the New York Jets, even though we brought in Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, still wasn't the right personnel. That points to the fact that it is Aaron Rodgers' decline, it's not just the Garrett Wilson can't do it. I mean, Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb still couldn't do it with the New York Jets, so you can't blame this all on Garrett Wilson. But Garrett Wilson, he has been quiet in the media, but it's been pretty obvious that there's been something going on behind the scenes. Sauce Gardner has been very vocal about wanting to come out and stay with the Jets long term. Garrett Wilson, it took him much longer to tweet out something like that, which he eventually did, and I'm glad he wants to stay on the team long term. Obviously, he's my favorite player. Got to keep him around. He's a great player. We got to keep him on the team. But he, clearly has not been satisfied, and it's obvious to see why he hasn't been satisfied, and it's because the New York Jets have failed time and time again over the first 3 years of his career to give him adequate quarterback play. I mean, maybe adequate's a strong word, because Aaron Rodgers was certainly adequate, but the goal for an NFL team has to be draft good wide receivers and then give them a good quarterback to throw them the football, and the New York Jets have not been able to do that with Garrett Wilson yet. That is something we expect to change in the future, but when it comes to the New York Jets, you never really know. Garrett Wilson, I mean, we get this guy locked up long term. I am positive that the New York Jets will be able to eventually find that quarterback, whether it's a first round pick this year with Jackson Dart, which I really hope doesn't happen, or maybe it's a third or fourth round pick of a Will Howard, a Tyler Shough, a Kyle McCord out of Syracuse is someone I know people are very excited about. Whoever it is, Garrett Wilson, unfortunately for him, he hasn't seen any success yet, but he is not the young guy anymore. He is now going to be the veteran of the wide receiver room, which he has, regular season experience. He doesn't have playoff experience, but I'm positive Garrett Wilson is going to be able to get whoever is joining him in that wide receiver room. He's going to be able to get their heads on straight. He's going to get the group of wide receivers to compete, everyone to fight, because we know Garrett Wilson is going to do that. Whether maybe you don't know where he's going to be on a route because he's using his athleticism to do something crazy, but you always know he's going to fight. If he's not getting the ball, he's going to let you know about it on the sidelines. And honestly, like, some people might say that makes him a diva wide receiver, but what else do you want from your wide receiver? All the best wide receivers in history pretty much are divas outside Calvin Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald. But if your wide receiver is not complaining when he's not getting the ball, then what does that receiver really value? Wide receivers need to value getting the ball in their hands and making big plays while the football is in their hands. Garrett Wilson is going to be a big play wide receiver in the NFL. We just got to get him the right quarterback so he can put up the right production that we know he is capable of. Garrett Wilson, I want to see him at 1,400 yards to 1,600 yards once we can put a real quarterback around him. And once we can get a real wide receiver too, to take some heat off of him as well. He's been facing double teams his entire career. That will slow down once we get a real group of wide receivers around him. Malachi Corley, Xavier Gibson, they are not good enough to have around him at this current moment in time. But the New York Jets, Darren Mougey, I'm sure is scouting wide receivers currently, scouting tight ends in the second round of this draft, or even maybe the first round of this draft with Tyler Warren. And he is going to find more opportunities to put more guys and more passing weapons around Garrett Wilson. And hopefully the New York Jets can put this frankly embarrassing Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, New York Green Bay Packers saga behind them. The New York Jets just got to move into the future, put their new best foot forward with Aaron Glenn and Darren Mougey, and I could not be more excited about Aaron Glenn. He is someone who every time he steps on the podium, he gets more and more people believing, and I just don't see how you could not be a fan of that coach, how you couldn't want to play for that coach. And I'm very excited to see what Aaron Glenn and Darren Mougey do with the New York Jets. But that's what I got for you guys today. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new. And as always, go Jets.